The sound of rotor blades echoed over the silent desert, cutting through the heat like a warning. When the helicopter touched down in the middle of nowhere, no one knew his mission, but within hours, President Ibrahim Traoré would uncover a chilling truth. The passengers weren't who they claimed to be, and their secret could shatter the nation. The midday sun burned fiercely over the vast Sahel, turning the desert into a shimmering sea of gold. For hours, nothing moved but the slow drift of wind across the dunes, until a distant, rhythmic thump began to rise from the horizon. Heads turned in a nearby village as a sleek, black helicopter emerged from the glare, flying low as if avoiding radar. Its body bore no flag, no insignia, no hint of ownership, and its tinted windows hid the faces inside. With a sudden burst of wind and sand, it touched down on a flat stretch of desert far from any road or airstrip. Four figures stepped out, their movements precise and deliberate. They wore faded humanitarian uniforms, the kind aid workers often use, and carried large metal crates stamped with the logos of international relief organizations. To a casual observer, they might have seemed like saviors bringing medicine and supplies, but to those watching closely, something felt wrong. They exchanged brief, hushed words in a language you could place. Scanning the horizon with trained eyes, one of them adjusted an earpiece, murmuring into a hidden microphone. In the village, an old shepherd squinted at the strange scene. Before hurrying toward the military post several kilometers away, the message traveled fast, reaching the capital within the hour. In Ouagadougou, President Ibrahim Traoré listened intently to the urgent report. His instincts told him this was no simple aid mission. Every detail hinted at careful deception. Without revealing his suspicion, he gave a clear order: send a covert surveillance team to track their every move. No contact, no warning. The desert might have seemed empty, but Traoré knew it was about to become the stage for something far more dangerous than a simple landing. Asterisk, by the time the surveillance team arrived, the helicopter was gone, leaving only shallow impressions in the sand and a faint smell of fuel. But the first strangers were not far. They had hitched a ride on an old cargo truck heading toward a small desert town. Disguised as aid workers, they moved with calculated ease, greeting locals, handing out a few packets of medicine and asking seemingly innocent questions about the region's infrastructure. Yet every gesture, every glance they shared, carried the weight of hidden purpose. The team, blending in among the townsfolk, noticed how the strangers' eyes lingered on the old water pipelines and power lines, how they took discreet photos with devices disguised as medical scanners. Later, two of them slipped away from the group and entered a restricted construction site near the outskirts, a place known to store sensitive equipment for the region's water supply. One operative knelt beside a locked maintenance hatch, tapping its metal surface as if taking measurements. The other kept watch, his gaze sharp, scanning every alley. Back in the capital, the updates reached Traoré in real time. He paced his office, his jaw tight. Foreign operatives operating under false humanitarian identities. It was a deliberate infiltration, but their exact target remained a mystery. Rather than order an immediate arrest, Traoré decided to let the operation unfold, giving his intelligence unit time to gather undeniable evidence. "We catch them when they think they're safe," he instructed. As night fell, the strangers rented rooms in an old guest house, their crates stacked neatly by the door. The surveillance team took positions in the shadows across the street, knowing that the cover of darkness might reveal more than the blazing desert sun ever could. Asterisk, the moon hung low over the desert town, its pale light casting long shadows across the silent streets. From their hidden vantage points, Traoré's surveillance unit watched as the guesthouse door creaked open just after midnight. Two of the strangers emerged, dressed in plain desert robes, their faces hidden by scarves. They carried small cases that looked harmless, but the way they gripped them betrayed the weight of importance. Instead of heading toward the marketplace or the main road, they slipped into a narrow alley that led out toward the dunes. The trackers moved quietly, keeping a precise distance, every footstep buried in the sand. After half an hour, the group reached a half-buried structure, an old, forgotten desert outpost, its crumbling walls standing like broken teeth against the horizon. A faint, metallic hum drifted from within. The operatives opened their cases, revealing compact devices with blinking blue lights. One man connected wires to a concealed antenna hidden inside the ruins, while the other spoke into a communicator in a foreign tongue. The meaning was unclear, but the urgency in his voice was unmistakable. Traoré, receiving live audio from The hidden microphones planted earlier recognized fragments of coordinates being transmitted, coordinates pointing toward a sensitive military logistics hub near the country's central water reserves. His chest tightened. This was no small infiltration. It was a coordinated intelligence extraction mission. Before he could give the order to intervene, one of the operatives froze, scanning the horizon. The trackers pressed themselves against the sand, hearts pounding as the hum from the outpost grew louder, signaling that something far bigger was about to happen. The desert air turned sharp with tension as Traore signaled his men to move in. Silent as shadows, they encircled the outpost, closing the gap inch by inch. The hum from the devices inside was now a steady pulse, like the heartbeat of a machine preparing for something dangerous. With a swift motion, Traore stepped into the open, his voice firm and unyielding. "Drop your equipment and put your hands where I could see them." The two operatives stiffened, their eyes narrowing above their scarves. For a moment, they hesitated, then one lunged toward the communicator, trying to destroy it. A soldier fired a warning shot into the sand, forcing them to freeze. As the scarves were pulled away, the faces beneath revealed a shocking truth. These were not wandering traders or harmless visitors, but high-ranking foreign agents posing under false identities. Their identification documents, quickly seized and examined, bore elaborate fabrications, multiple names, forged visas, and diplomatic seals from distant nations. One of them smirked coldly, refusing to speak, while the other's hands trembled. As he realized the operation had failed, Traore's men dismantled the equipment, uncovering encrypted storage drives containing detailed maps of military installations and water infrastructure. The realization hit hard. This was not random espionage, but a targeted plan to cripple the country's defenses and control its lifeline, water. As the agents were bound and escorted out into the moonlight, Traore locked eyes with the man who had tried to destroy the communicator. "You came here in secret," Traore said quietly, "but your lies end here." The desert wind carried his words into the darkness, and in that moment, the balance of power had shifted, but the danger was far from over. The captured agents were transported under heavy guard to Ouagadougou, where an emergency council meeting awaited. Traore stood at the head of the table, the evidence spread out before him. Forged documents, encrypted drives, and satellite photographs of critical infrastructure. Technicians had already cracked part of the encryption, revealing messages to a covert Western command center. The name behind it all struck like a thunderclap: a wealthy businessman who had long posed as a friend of the nation, funding charities by day and feeding foreign powers classified intel by night. Traore wasted no time. Within hours, security forces raided the man's lavish estate. He was found hosting a dinner with foreign diplomats, his charm dissolving into panic as soldiers poured in. "Your empire is built on betrayal," Traore told him as the cuff snapped shut. The search uncovered hidden communications equipment and bank records linking him to the desert operation and several other acts of sabotage. News of the arrest spread like wildfire, sparking outrage across the country. Crowds gathered outside the palace gates, chanting for justice. That night, Traore addressed the nation, his voice steady but resolute. "We have been tested by those who hide in shadows, but today, the shadows have no place to hide." The dismantling of the spy network sent a clear message to those who thought Burkina Faso could be undermined. The country was watching, and it would fight back. As dawn broke over the capital, the streets hummed with a renewed sense of unity. The desert winds might still carry whispers of danger, but for now, the truth had triumphed, and in the eyes of the people, their leader had once again proven that no enemy, no matter how hidden, could escape justice. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and share to spread the word. Subscribe to Faso Chronicles for more gripping stories you won't want to miss.